Hello everyone, this is Akash Chauhan, and in today's lecture we will focus on JSP communication and session handling. This is the last topic of Unit 3, and in this lecture we will focus on what is JSP session and how to handle a JSP session and how to invalidate and what is the need of invalidation of a session. So all these three topics we will cover in today's lecture. One more thing about the session is, if let's say if we take a real life example of a session, let's say if we log in facebook.com until we don't log out, okay, that session is validated, okay, that session is there, the validation of that session is there. If somehow the API, the background coding would invalidate that session, it means we will log out from that session. Or manually, if we click on the logout button, it will also invalidate that session. It means when once the session will expire, you wouldn't be able to get the information during that session or of that session. Okay, so more precisely, we would understand what is the meaning of session and how to handle it and how to invalidate that session if we look at the proper code. So let's say this is, if you are able to see, there is a, this index.session.jsp page, which is asking you to enter your username and then the password and then you login. Okay, this is a very simple, you know, JSP page. I am entering my name, password, let's say 1234. Okay, so what we are trying to figure out, we will see if this data, because this is the username and this is the this is the password we are logging. Okay, so let's log in first. So we have entered in the application and it's saying welcome Akash. Akash is the username. Okay, here the username is Akash and this is the password. So after login into this application, it is saying okay, welcome Akash. You can click here to go to the home page. So if I click here again, okay, one thing to notice over here is, here cache is being used. Okay, it means the data we have entered at this JSP page is being used at this page. Okay, whatever this page is, but the data is being used here. Okay, as you can see, username is Akash and password is 1234. If I click here home page, it will also forward me to the another JSP page, which is home, session.jsp, and it is again saying hello user, you have entered the name Akash. It means I have entered the name over here, and after login I'm able to access that name over here as well. And after getting into the loop, I'm clicking on another pages, and we are at the third JSP page right now, and I am still able to access that name. Okay, it is saying, okay, click here to log out. So if I click over here, if I try to access that name now, then I wouldn't be able to do that. So the purpose of session is actually, till the session is not, you have not invalidated that session, it means the session is valid and you can get the information from that session anywhere till you manually don't invalidate that session. Again, let's try to understand the flow. 1234, login. I'm accessing the name over here, clicking at the home page. I'm again accessing the name over here. It means somehow the session is helping us to get the information entered by the user at the very first page. It is just the example. It means till, and once I log out, somehow I am invalidating that session. Okay, so if I click on log out, I'm invalidating that session and forwarding it to the very index page, the very first page, which is the index session.jsp. Okay, so let's look at the code of this page, because this is the default page we are able to see. This is index session.jsp. Okay, so this is the default page. Let's look at the code of index session. So index session, we will focus on this later on. Let's focus on the form. So form is saying that we have three inputs. Okay, The first input is the username, second input is the password, and submit button would be the login button. Okay, as we are able to see, let me show you. Just hold on. As you can see, so this is the first page we are trying to figure out. Enter username, password, and then login. This is the index session. Okay, so we have three inputs. We'll focus on this part as well. This is actually something we have written in the Java. Okay, uh, actually we are getting the username. Okay, get password. Request is the request implicit object. We have covered this topic in one of our lectures. So it is getting the username from the request, storing into the uname, okay, and it is checking if it is not null, then print it. Okay, it means even if you run this, it is checking that username is there or not. Okay, it is taking username from the request and checking if it is there or not. Okay, is it clear? If it is not there, then it is not executing. It is not executing this code. Okay, only the first line would be there. This will only be executed when uname is there. But as we are able to see as of now, nothing except enter username and enter password and login. Three inputs, except three input, nothing is there. It means initially this username is null. Okay, we will see what we are trying to do over here. But if we enter the username and the password and if we click on the login, it means it will forward you to the session.jsp. Okay, so let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If I simply log in, it is forwarding me to this page which is saying welcome. It is getting the Akash from the previous page, and now it is providing me the hyperlink to move me to the next page. Okay, so it means once I click on the login, it is forwarding me to the session.jsp. Okay, so let's move on to the session.jsp. We have written something in Java. It is saying from the request get the username. Okay, so we have set the username. Okay, whatever we are going to enter, it will be stored in the username. Okay, so this uname would become Akash because we have just entered the Akash. As you can see, this one is we are talking about. It is saying just simply print it. Take it from the previous request, take the username and simply print it. And what you need, the second thing is we are doing is we are setting a SE session, SES session name, SESS name, we are setting to uname. It means during this session, till this session is valid, session name, this SESS name would be uname. Whenever we will be accessing this session attribute, we will be able to access username. Okay, username we have taken from the request and we have set it to the session attribute. So set session attribute SESS, you can choose any name, and then you are simply storing the data you have taken from the previous page. And after this is actually the Java code, okay, and it is showing you the home page and as a hyperlink to click here to check the home page. Okay, so as you can see, it is Akash is actually not a session attribute over here. It is actually the request. The request implicit object is being used. As you can see, request get parameter username and Akash is there. Okay, the name is there. But once I click on it, okay, as you can see, session is, if I click over here, it will forward me to the home session.jsp. Okay, with one thing that if I want to access this username till this session is valid, I can access this username without using even that. Okay, because we have set it to the uname, okay, as a session attribute. Till the session is there, we will be able to access it. Okay, so if I click over here on this page, it would forward me to the home session.jsp. So simply let's click over here. It is saying hello user. Okay, it is simple out message. This is you have entered the name Akash. Let's see what if we are taking it as a request implicit object or session attribute. So if I simply click over here, or let's see the code of home session.jsp. So it is saying now we are accessing session.get attribute SESS name. Okay, so it means now we are trying to access the session attribute, which is SESS name, which is mapped to uname. Okay, so it means if we print it, if we are trying to print this name, taking from the session attribute, it will print you Akash. But after printing it, it is what it is doing, it is invalidating the session. So it what it means, once it is printing, it is also doing the invalidation. So if I click on, this click here to log out. So let me click over here, click here to log out, and it is forwarding me to the very index page, which is index session. Okay, so it is forwarding me to the index session, but what it is doing, it is invalidating the session. It means after session dot invalidate, if you try to execute this line, this would return you name as null, which we have done over here. As you can see, we are trying to access username over here. Okay, so this is actually the username. Let me try to access the session object. Okay, just hold on. Okay, so as you can see, instead of this line, okay, because this is the request parameter, we are not supposed to use it, so we will delete it. Okay, simply username. Okay, so this is fine. It seems that we are trying to access the session get attribute session name. Okay, and we are simply checking if it is not null, then print it. But this message is not there. Okay, let's again go with the flow. Gosh, 1 2 3 4, click over here, click on logout. So it means somewhere this message, this welcome Akash would be there, but it is not there. Why? Because at the home session we have invalidated the session. Okay, so session, once we done with session dot invalidate, it means all the attributes, all the functions of this session, you wouldn't be able to access the data from that session. So if we have set this session name SESS name, then if we try to access it after the invalidation, what we are trying to do over here, because we this login page, okay, this home page, after you click on logout, okay, before logout it has invalidated the session. So after that it is forwarding you to this page, and you are trying to access the SESS name, you wouldn't be able to. It means the uname would be null, and it would check, okay, it is null, so let's not execute this, and simply execute that. That's why you are not able to see the welcome Akash or welcome username over here. Okay, so simply this is actually how you access, how you set the the session attribute, and how you access the session attribute. What we are supposed to discuss during this session, actually we are supposed to discuss the JSP session, how to handle the JSP session, and how to invalidate the session. So as you can see, through this these three JSP pages, we can invalidate and validate the session. We can pass the data from one JSP to second JSP using the set session, this thing session dot set attribute, and you can later on use the attributes, the session attributes, but before the invalidation of the session. After invalidation of the session, the data would be null. Okay, so this is about the session handling. If you have any doubt, you can comment down below to that video. And another thing related to this lecture, I will upload a practical over the Moodle. So you are supposed to do that practical during your lab. Okay, so thank you so much guys for today's lecture. Okay.